Story, Costera. Written and produced by Isaac Contreras. Laberinko.
One night, a young sailor named Jack arrived for the first time at the port of Costera. Following the other sailors from the ship, he entered the bar looking for a drink after long days at sea. The bar was known for being the favorite spot of local and foreign fishermen and sailors. As Jack drank his beer, he looked at the large mirror behind the bar and noticed something strange in the atmosphere of the place. People were whispering and seemed nervous. A man sitting near him explained why there was such a tenebrous atmosphere in the bar that night. According to the man, there was a monster that lived in the depths of the sea and came to the surface only to feed on the bodies of unfortunate fishermen on certain nights. And tonight was one of those nights. The man claimed to have seen the monster with his own eyes, and it was something indescribable, something that could never be accurately described by the human mind without being disturbed. Jack spat his beer on the bar, unable to contain his laughter at the story told by the green-eyed old man. He stood up from the bar, looked at all the scared sailors, insulted them mockingly amidst shouts, and decided to leave the bar. Looking for a brothel to spend the night with a woman, he walked through the small streets near the bar, still laughing at that silly story. It was then that he saw something that took his breath away. A huge tentacle emerged from a nearby sewer and grabbed a person passing by. Terrified, Jack ran back to the bar to warn the other sailors. He quickly opened the doors, stumbled, and fell onto the wooden floor, screaming what he had just seen, fear preventing him from forming coherent sentences. Astonished, Jack slowly stood up and observed the empty bar. Not only did this steal his breath and hope, but he also discovered that every part of the Kraken bar was destroyed by time, inhabited by mold, algae, and neglect. A large hole in the roof, through which a huge moon peeked, illuminated the entire place. Jack observed his reflection in the mirror behind the bar, searched for his face in confusion, and saw himself alone in that bar. The sky began to darken. A lightning bolt illuminated the entire place for a second, and he saw a large tentacle behind him. Desperate, Jack ran out of the bar, looking for a way to escape the city, but found that all the streets were blocked by barricades made of corpses. A roar and a scream of thousands of voices echoed through the small seaside town. That terrifying sound made Jack tremble, as if the sea had split in two and from it a gigantic shadow was born, rising into the sky and covering the light of the full moon. Jack ran for his life through the narrow streets, the shadow growing from above, the sound of tentacles approaching violently, surrounding him through all the streets. Jack walked backward in terror, looking everywhere through the small streets branching off from the Kraken bar. Intense lightning revealed a sudden and violent rain that instantly fell on Jack. Overwhelmed by unimaginable terror, with wide eyes as he discovered in the flashes of lightning indescribable movements of gigantic tentacles, approaching him through the clouds, streets, and under the rumbling town. The shadow already covered the entire town, burying it in darkness. The rain intensified. Jack fell to his knees, a strangled scream almost tearing his jaw, no longer able to contain his heart about to burst from his body. Behind him, one by one, the lights inside the bar began to turn on. The chatter and music grew, forgetting it had ever rained. As all the street lamps lit up, the large sign of the Kraken bar illuminated Jack kneeling on the street, agitated and trembling. At that moment, Jack realized that the man's story in the bar was true. There was something in Costera that could not be comprehended by the human mind, something that lived in the depths of the sea and was ready to destroy everything in its path. Jack stood up, dusted off his clothes that seemed not to have been wet in days, the dust floating away as he turned and walked back to the Kraken bar. From that moment on, Jack was trapped in Costera, fighting for his life against the monster and trying to understand the dark secret of the city. But as he delved deeper into the darkness, he realized that perhaps it was better not to know the truth behind Costera and its inhabitants.
Story: Costera. Written and produced by Isaac Contreras. Laberinko. If you enjoyed this story, visit our website at laberinko.com to find more stories that will surprise your senses. Laberinko.